Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, distinguished participants. It is my honor and pleasure to be with you this morning. This is my first time on being on TEDx. I wish I had somebody to speak first before me. But anyway, let me give it a try. The topic of my presentation is breaking barriers from grass to grace. The whole purpose is to give you a quick rundown, very brief, on my modest life. And the purpose is there may be one or two things that you may hear which may help you to rededicate yourself, rediscover yourself, reenact yourself, invent or reinvent yourself. That is just the purpose of this. And briefly, it started in a small, remote village in northern Nigeria. One day, when I was a child, I started following my seniors to go to the local Islamia school. And when we were there, they were reciting on their wooden tablet, and they noticed that after the school, I was able to, memorize what they were memorizing. So they suggested to our parent that I should also get my own tablet. And on the market day, we went there to get a tablet for Your Excellency. So as we were there, discussion ensued with one tailor called Sardo, who was in our family house in the local town. And as the discussions intensified, they decided to walk across the road to the primary school to talk to the headmaster so that I could be enrolled, as Sardo has been advising my local people. So they accepted me, and I was to come back the following Monday. And I was looking forward to it on the one hand, and my mother said over her dead body. And my father, on the other hand, may Allah forgive both of them, insisted that I must go. So the following Monday, there was I reported to the primary school in a very tiny classroom. But of course, the school was either in second or third semester, and everybody knew their ABCDs except me from the village. And I was isolated, taught, and I was lagging behind. And that was the first barrier in my life, that of stigmatization, segregation. Here is a boy that came from village. He could not meet up. He was delaying us. And that persisted within and without the classrooms. Long story. And even outside, because my parents lived only in that town at occasions. So life in school was not easy. Life outside school was not easy because I had to live with relatives. And means of livelihood was very scarce, and we had to engage with all sorts of meager work to survive. And of course, with the enticement of, running away from school. But in the midst of this uncertainty and confusion, we were able to reach primary 5. And some of us were selected to write the common entrance exam. And in class 6, also there was the horror among our seniors. I remember one of my close friends, he is late now. Class 6, he said, have you done this? Have you done this? Have you done this? So you have not. How could you pass? But Providence had it. After the common entrance, we were able to go to, that was the first time I came to Zaria, just as Zaria, now Al Huda Huda College. And that was a different environment, which was a boarding school. And lots of you who attended boarding school those times knew how bullying was so rampant. And that bullying forced me to turn into a day student. So I was a day student, and with all the negative influences of the society and the enticement of truancy, but luckily the pressure of my colleagues in the school attracted me more. So luckily I went with them, and they had a very good tradition of studying in group. And I was lagging behind, and luckily, by providence again, I happened to be a good listener. And when we wrote exams in those days, I found myself somehow competing with some of the best students, except when it came to mathematics or additional mathematics, where some of the students, like Professor Zubairu of Building Department, were unbeatable. So we continue with that uncertainty again until maybe around 1982, when we got provisional admission into Ahmadu Bello University, in the School of Basic Studies. And then when the WAEG results were out, another setback. I did not get credit in one of my subject combinations. So in the midst of that confusion, what did I do? No guidance, no nothing, in the pool of confusion. Luckily, somebody came and said, I could take you to Professor I.B. Mohammed, who can help. We went to him, he said, only thing I could offer is to give you diploma in mathematics education. No option, I grabbed it. Luckily, within 2 years, they said I was the best graduating student with distinction. Then we had to compulsory teaching for 1 year before we continued, because my colleagues were there. Could I continue? No, you must teach for 1 year mandatory, and no job could be found. No job, you cannot continue. Shuttling between Zaria and Kaduna, always prayerful, no job in sight. One day I accidentally got posted to somewhere. I spent 1 year, came back to ABU, continued my degree, BSc Ed, mathematics. But something came into me naturally by instinct that I didn't want to be in Faculty of Education. I wanted Faculty of Science. Again, long story. I couldn't change because they were tossing me. They have to say they are releasing you. They have to say we are accepting you. So I had to spend 1.5 years taking courses in both programs. At the end, through Dr. Laurent Charlie, an American, I was able to be transferred to the Faculty of Science. We graduated. Second year, they say I was the best second-year student. Luckily, I was to get the Habib Bank Prize, but it never came that year. In the final year, so we finished, and then we were interviewed to come and be graduate assistants. So I had two options, either to work in a bank or to be a GA. I quickly ran to my father and told him the implication that if I worked in the bank, my salary was going to be 3 times as GA. Without hesitation, he said, go to where you were sought formally. So that was how I became a graduate assistant. Otherwise, I would have been perhaps in the bank. So that paved my way going overseas. When I came to the department, we were discussing among, talking about foreign scholarship. Aaron Yaduma brought in his drawer a brochure of Queen Mary and Westfield College, University of London. People say, I buy Samu. Nobody gets. So I just made a photocopy, 2 naira, SBS library. I posted. After a week or two, I got a form to fill, I sent, and then here is admission. Queen Mary and Westfield College, University of London. Scholarship, ODA scholarship, to do masters in computer science. Before I traveled, of course, there was another barrier. That one was a family one. They say I must not go until my married Fatiha is concluded. Yes, because my wife's family said they had an experience, so it must be before I left. So anyway, that problem solved somehow. Now I was in London. 2 fundamental challenges. The first one was academics. First one was academics. Even though we had the best grades here, but we lacked the skills. My first class in master's program was, that was when I knew one game called Noughts and Crosses. They taught us Noughts and Crosses, and they say you go and program it. There was no programming experience. So apologies to my students. That is the reason why we force you to learn skills. So again, those challenges, I was able to lean on colleagues, bright students from Egypt, from India, from Greece. And somehow, so Queen Mary College, some of us were able to make it, some were not able to make it among the Nigerian students that were there. So after that, we made it. Again, after that scholarship, mandatory, you must go back to your country and work or study. Should I bring my wife? Should I come alone? So I took the risk. I came back alone. My wife was there. Unsure what happened, but luckily, of course, when I was going, I had 2 scholarships, federal and ODA. So I went back and took my ODA, my federal scholarship, to St. Andrews University, Scotland. So when I was there, again, challenges on Nigerian scholarship, too little, too erratic, too inconsistent, not coming all the time. So as a PhD student, I had to work and study. In fact, when the pressure went very high, my German colleague, Gerald Ostheimer, said that the best is to take your wife home and you concentrate on your studies. And I said that was not an option. So anyway, somehow, somewhat, after 5 tortuous years, I got the PhD. So maybe that was when things started to subside. Within a short period, I got a job in University Telecom, Malaysia, I think she mentioned, without interview. 1 year after, I got a job in King Fahd University with 5 minutes interview. Immediately I was there in 1999, I got another job at Zayed University, UAE, but I decided not to be chasing. So I remained in King Fahd for 9 years, and I made my mind to come back to Nigeria. I was interviewed. The first rigorous interview in my life was in Abu Zaria. And all the people in the round table were known to me, but that was my first interview in 2005. And of course, you know our problems. It never materialized because so many different problems. I wouldn't want to say they are a topic of another TEDx, but in the end, in 2008, I was able to come back here. And I've been here since then, 2008. I met somebody accidentally here. He said he was one of my student. I don't know good or bad. He will say maybe whether we treated him well or not. So that is how we have been. And of course, in doing admin and research and everything, it has not been easy, especially when you wanted to do well in both. It can be both tiring and aging. And that's why those of you who knew me when I came back in 2008, if you see these gray hairs, you will wonder whether it is the same person that came that time. So with this rush, I think there is so much, I have skipped so much, but I've said this, and maybe there are one or two takeaways for us here. One thing is that we should embrace our struggles. Don't transfer your struggles to anybody. And it is important because those struggles that you embrace are the things that will define who you are. Number two, it is important that we believe in ourselves. You believe in yourself with trust in God and prayerful, because you have to trust in yourself even if nobody does. I think takeaway number three is that we must not think of failure. Never. We must be resilient. Of course, while being prayerful, we have to be upright in doing what we do. Number four, perhaps, we have to subscribe to the wisdom of the word of elders, because those things can pay. I could see those of if I had followed that shortcut, many of my friends who were working where they were working, where we wanted to work, were all retired few years ago. Number five, it is very important in life that we find, mentors and allies who will help us. If I didn't have good mentors at JSS Zaria, I could have strayed. If I didn't have mentors at the University of London, I could have strayed, and so many other places. So those mentors will help you. And after that, I think you should also pay it forward, so that whatever you have learned, find some way to invest so that people can learn from you in order to rededicate themselves, reinvent themselves. Thank you very much.